Only a few, 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 only a few.
You can't use that to generalize and say, oh, women send men out to die.
I didn't say that they've allowed for them to fight and die. They've allowed for it. Go on, sister.
This sort of conversation for me is reflective of the general conversation that we need to have in our community about toxic masculinity and the way in which it affects the lives of women. Because right now, it generally does, in the way that you're presenting your point, you're undermining the oppression of women. You're asking about recent events. I can't remember what, the girl's name was, but it's in circulating media. And we're talking about women just having that agency to exercise their right. This woman was, she complained to her friend that her boyfriend or whatever was abusing her. She went to the police and he still killed her. We had a recent incident just a couple of months ago in Pakistan of a man raping, what was it, a 2-year-old girl? Women being harassed.
Yeah, okay, agreed.
We need to address these things, and it's not enough to just come.
Okay, fine, I agree with that point. I agree with that. But you know what? The question that was posed to me was about feminism.
Right.
Do you get me? No, but hold on. No, hold on. The question that was addressed to me was about feminism. Now, I'm not saying to you that, by the way, what you've said, I agree with. Yeah, by the way, what you've said, I agree with. I don't have a disagreement with you. I don't have a disagreement. But just as like there's a time to talk about women's rights, there's a time to talk about men's rights as well. Do you get it?
Did you get mine?
Sister, I got you. I got you, and I didn't disagree with you. Yeah.
So all these problems, the sister, can I?
Yeah.
All the problems you talked about, I'm aware of them. What you said about Mecca, if you go on my Facebook page, I shared an article written by a sister that women are being harassed in Mecca by some perverted men. I shared the article about the girl in Pakistan. I was one of those people who, I couldn't campaign actively while I was there. I was recently in Pakistan when this case happened. We are aware of these problems and we are absolutely disgusted by these things. So the fact that women are generally abused or mistreated around the world, why is it happening is the first question you should be asking. Is it happening because of men generally, or is it happening is it happening because where they are, or the social norms in that particular place, or is it because of economic pressure? I know sisters are very emotional about this topic. So wait.
But what do you want us to say? Like, what do you want? So I agree. Listen, sister.
We know, but all of this doesn't make feminism right. That's the question he was addressing. What he's talking about is feminism. What feminists do, they hijack cases like that, or historical facts like that, and they make a case upon it. Yeah. So what he's talking about is a different topic altogether. He's talking about feminism.
We can have a critical discussion about feminism. Can I
say something? I think there's non-Muslims here. Can I say something, please? Yeah. There's non-Muslims who maybe have genuine questions. This behavior, our akhlaq, our adab. Wallahi, if I was a non-Muslim, I'd just say, you know what? Let me just go out. Look at this behavior. I don't need a clap. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yeah? What I'm saying is this: if there's any non-Muslims here, if you have a genuine question.
Yeah, agreed.
Please.
We'll agree.
I think there's a misunderstanding. Yeah?
By the way, I don't disagree with the sister. All right, I don't disagree with you.
If there's anyone Muslims who want to ask a question, please, and forgive us for our behavior.
Yeah. By the way, I apologize to the sisters. Yeah. Why? Because there was a genuine criticism that I do take on board. What the sister said is the way I said it. Now look, I'm not perfect. The way I say things, yeah, that I will take full responsibility for. And if I seemed like, because it's about highlighting things, if I seemed like I was highlighting men's issues at the expense and detriment of female concerns, which are very important historical concerns, I apologize for that. I was just making that point. Yeah, so I can make, if you ask me another question or someone else asks me another question, I will talk about women's rights. But the reason why I'm not is simply because I was talking about the clash between feminism and Islam. That's all the reason that I was mentioning that. Do you get it? And I was trying to break down the feminist narrative from that perspective. Ideas of the patriarchy from a feministic perspective, I don't agree totally with their conceptualization. Do you get it? So I'm not saying you're wrong, but there are very, very legitimate female concerns, historical concerns. But I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that that should be undermined in any way. And I do apologise for the way I put it forward, because I sometimes do get a bit passionate. Okay? Do you forgive him? Do you forgive me for that? And also, I apologise for talking about. Yeah.
All right. Can we have a quick question?
You apologise. All you can do is forgive me. All right, go and find out.
And I agree with what you were saying about feminism is right, but it's what you
Fine, okay, if that's the case, once again, if I say something wrong, it's from shaitan. Yeah.
No, sorry, can we...
You've had a lot of voice time, so the brother wants to chat. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Well, it kind of seems like the last 20 minutes of conversation with the oppression Olympics, and not getting anywhere with it. I think you need to, everyone needs to ask what the nature of actually exploitation is. You need to qualify what exploitation is. Now, there's this Irish philosopher from the 17th century called Edmund Burke. He says, if you're on a boat, are you telling someone they're exploited because they can't get off, because there are other options to jump into the sea? They're not, because that's the only option you have available. Now, when you put men and women together in a society, you will get distributions. Men are better than women, some things are better than men and other things. And you'll get differences, and you'll get societies, especially thousands of years ago, will form with differences between the sexes. That doesn't mean that one is exploited and the other isn't. Now, I don't really agree that the men were dying for the women. I simply don't really think that the women were working for the men, because you're missing out the point. This isn't a competition, it's partnership. That is the nature of the human race. There are two sides to it. It's like the yin and the yang. And you cannot have dark without light or yin without yang. You need both to survive. Now, you can't have family units in a society with just women or just men, because your society will have no birth rate whatsoever, and you will disappear. The nature of human beings' existence requires men and women to work together. You are not exploiting the other side, because biology, and perhaps your creator, if you believe in that, has put you in a position where your only option to exist is to work with the other side. No one is being exploited in the same respect that someone is a slave in chains, just because you have marriage, just because you have men fighting the wars, just because you have women fighting the battlefronts of home. No one is, that's not the nature of exploitation. So what I'd like everyone to consider is you need to qualify in your own minds what it means to be exploited. It is different to be chained up and forced to dig in a coal mine than it is to have your biology and the fact that you need to eat and you need to have children in your society determine that you must structure your society in a way where men and women can work together, and that's the only option.
Yes, well done, man. This guy. You get it, guys. Hopefully he said it in a better... I think he done a better job than I did, to be honest with you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Yes. Anything else?
Just to keep it fair, I've got a few written questions there.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
The first one is a Muslim woman sinning if she doesn't wear a hijab? Or the commonly accepted view of hijab?
Yes, she is. Next question.
The next question is, do you deny the second largest sect of Islam, what Shias believe in?
Yes, I do. Next question.
Why does Islam allow polygamy?
Why not? Next question.
Because there are more women in the world.
No. Guys, and this is another thing about polygamy, yeah? Look, I mean, once again, this is a clear inequality from the Quranic perspective between men and women. فَانْكَحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدَةً أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows men to marry 2, 3, or 4. Do you know what, the reason why is unknown, because Allah didn't say li or la'al or for a reason, yeah? He doesn't give us ta'illah. Obviously, we know about the rules where a woman can make a contract. Ibn Qudama, who comes from the school of thought, which I kind of follow, the Hanbali school of thought, he says that actually, if a woman makes a contract before the marriage to only marry one, then it has to be enacted, yeah? So if you don't want that to happen as a woman, no doubt you can allow that not to happen by making a prenuptial agreement that would stop that from happening. Even within the marriage, if it happens, and one of the parties, you know, subhanAllah, a lot of people, you don't understand, yeah? And going back to women's rights. Now, let me try and steal the women crowd here a little bit, yeah? In a good way. I was going to say that a lot of people don't realize the amount of rights actually women do have in Islam comparative to other religions. Catholicism doesn't allow a woman to divorce, or a man, actually, for that matter. Judaism, as we were talking, Ali, me and you were talking about this, a woman has to get the get, yeah, in order to get divorced. In other words, like, it's completely in the hands of the man, yeah, in Judaism. In Islam, a woman has options to divorce, yeah. You know, a woman came to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and she said to him, this is a funny hadith, Allah. She goes, لَوْلَا مَخِيفَةِ اللَّيْلَ وَزَخْتُ فِي وَجْهِهِ. I find this very funny. You know? She goes, I have a hate towards my husband. And if it wasn't for the fear of Allah, I would have spat in his face. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, فَفَرَّقَ بَيْنَهُمَا, he got them divorced without the permission of the husband. فَفَرَّقَ بَيْنَهُمَا. He basically, in other words, he saw that she didn't want to be in that marriage. He got a divorce without his consent. Now, وَكَانَ أَوْلُ خُلُعًا فِي الإسلام, and this was the first khula in Islam. Really, it's called فَسْخ عَقْد or عَقْد. فَسْخ عَقْدٍ is basically when you break your contract without the husband's permission. That's available in Islam for women. Polygamy, the illah, there's a difference between illah and hikmah. Illah is the reason. Hikmah is the wisdom. Yeah? The illah is not mentioned in the Quran. It's ta'abbudi. It's one of those things which are mentioned as allowed, and people do it, you know. And it's not time specific. It's still applicable today. Obviously, it's illegal in this country to do it on a legal level, but actually lots of people do it illegally. Behind the scenes, a nikah does not require the registry office. Anyways, I'm not saying do that, by the way. I'm just saying that's what people do, right? Moreover, I think if we're talking about hikmah, I can only give you I was going to say experience, but then I'll get myself in trouble. No, the hikmah, my, interpretation of it, yeah. So anyways, the interpretation as far as the wisdom, yeah, is only my, analysis of the wisdom. My analysis of the wisdom is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created men and women differently. And also, I believe, I certainly believe, for reasons that we've kind of aforementioned, which we're not going to go into, but I think men fulfill a different functionality to women on many levels. One of those things is, I believe, the Islamic model is a model which specifies the man as a caregiver. As a caregiver. In a way that a woman can't be. So this is the idea of qawwama. Qawwama, literally, qama yaqumu, means to make something stand up. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. That Allah is al-qayyum. In other words, He lets everything stand up. Literally, that is the meaning of the word qayyum. Qama, iqamat as-salah, establishing the prayer. But it means the maintainer. So in other words, a man is a maintainer in a way that a woman cannot be the maintainer. A man can do certain things for women that men cannot do, that women cannot do for men. And I'm not going to just talk about wars, because that is one of those things that for the most part, men can do better than women. Okay, obviously there's lots of things, guys, that women can do better than men, all right? One of them is give birth, obviously. But, you know, that's just by biological necessity. But moreover, I do believe that a man, by virtue of the fact, and I think if you look at the academic works on this, David Stove has done some controversial, very controversial, but some of it is, you have to kind of look at it with kind of with criticality, yeah, what he says. He's done some work on this, like the differences between men and women. I believe that a man can give care to a woman in a way that the woman can't give care to a man. And from an economic perspective, if he does that to more than one woman, then he fulfills, he allows for a social reality to take place, which will be better than otherwise for the whole. So in other words, you got to ask yourself the question, why not polygamy? Yeah? Why not polygamy? Why only monogamy? You can argue that monogamy is a social construct for a man. Why should we only have one wife? Well, the reason why a woman would give is either because, a woman can't do the same thing, there's no equality, which is, once again, a feministic presupposition. Or you can say, well, because actually, why should it be, it will make the woman feel pain or jealousy or something like that? Well, I'll say to you, that's an emotional argument. Even if it allows a woman to feel jealousy and pain, let's say, if it does do that, but then it allows another woman to do it. And a lot of people think that only men are complicit in polygamy. And that's a very funny thing to think. Because obviously, in order for polygamy to happen, you need a woman. You need another woman. Yeah? So who does polygamy? Men and women do polygamy. You're going to say, oh, polygamy is a feministic argument. It's really baffling. A feministic argument is incredibly baffling. So I'm saying, well, one of the ways in which men exploit women is through polygamy. But wait a minute. There's 2 women and 1 man, or 3 women and 1 man, or whatever it may be. There's more women exploiting other women, if that's the logic you're using. There are actually more women in that equation than there are men. What are you talking about? So it disadvantages one woman, but it advantages obviously another woman, in so much as the other woman has agreed to take part of that reality. You know, and obviously, biblically, I know you're putting your hands up, Solomon had 300 wives.
Why can't a woman have 4 husbands?
Why can't a woman have 4 husbands? Because men and women are not the same. And as I said, like, this is the thing. You have to take away this feministic cap if you want to understand the Islamic thesis. I can't sugarcoat my religion, yeah? Allah specifies that you can marry 2, 3, or 4, and if you can't do justice, marry only 1, yeah? And let me be even more explicit about this, and more controversial. If you can't do justice, what is justice? It's adl, yeah? But you can do misyar marriage. Misyar marriage is when you agree with a woman, a second woman, you understand? Or that she can decide, I don't want equality. You can do that. She can, when this is only her thing to do. So I don't want to see you 3 days a week or 4 days a week. Come to me 1 day a week. Come to me for 5 hours a week. I just need a man because I don't want to do zina. That's very possible in Islam. Why? Because Allah tries to facilitate pathways for halal to happen and haram to stop. And polygamy is one of those ways in which that can happen. Anyways, you know, you'll not swallow this pill unless, in your mind, you're convinced with the Islamic thesis. Because it's something which is socially against the grain. Even though, to be honest with you, as Ali would say, most people in society do polygamy anyways, yeah? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, anyways.
They do. In today's society, if you look, you have men who, excuse my language, side chicks, girlfriends. Look, what you're doing is you have a wife, and you're getting another woman and using her for your desires for the weekend, yeah? And that's, you know, it's wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you're going to do it, you do it the right way. You honour that woman. Okay, you want to get married again, yes, your first wife might not be happy. And if it's in the contract, it's not going to happen. But if there's another woman, you agree, you go to that woman's father, you ask for her hand, she has her mahar, you do a proper wedding, instead of, hey, yeah, give a false hope, sleep with her, and chuck her like she's a piece of garbage. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this regulation. It's not something that Muslims do. If you look at society, I'm sorry, do you know how many men cheat on their, like it's both, but I'm saying, having these girlfriends for what? Desires. So Allah has given that regulation there to protect the woman against those things.
And men as well, protect men as well, go on.
Let's say it's in the contract, like you only have like 1 wife, and he then takes another one anyway. Is that marriage valid?
According to Ibn Qudama and others, then it wouldn't be a valid marriage. But according to the Malikis and others, it would be valid, and that contract means nothing. Just to be fair, like, you know what I'm saying, the Malikis, and I've spoken to many Mashaykh, but I'm not saying that I agree with that view, because I looked over that, and I had a long discussion on that. And to be honest with you, I don't think that is the right view. Because,
all right, guys.
Anyways, we're not talking about fiqh. I'm telling you, I'm doing naql fatwa here. I'm telling you, I've spoken to this scholar. He told me this. I'm telling you. If you don't like it, you don't have to accept it. Whatever. All right?
All right, guys. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So, yeah, thank you so much for your question and being here. Anything that was said is the opinion of the speaker and not a representation of the LSC ISOP. Thank you so much. Okay, goodbye. Guys, if you have any other questions, to ask them privately. Alright, guys, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask.